Welcome everyone to another Monday Mindset. My name is Barry Overton, coming to you for maybe the last time in Denver, Colorado, doing a Monday Mindset. I'm actually moving to San Diego this Friday. We'll start the physical journey there, and really excited about that. And part of what I'm going to talk about today is what led to being able to make this move. And it's really a shift in our thinking as real estate agents, a shift of thinking of yourself as a real estate agent and thinking of yourself more as a real estate CEO. And being able to grow and build a business that is beyond just your own production. I can tell you when we decided to make this move about 4 years ago, and we gave ourselves 4 years, um, it was all about figuring out how to take, the 35 to 40 transactions I was doing a year and only making money if I'm closing houses and turn it into a business where I don't necessarily have to always be there for it to be able to generate business. And I'm going to kind of share with you a PowerPoint as we go through and have this conversation. So the thing that I want you to grasp a hold of for yourself is as I'm speaking about this, and you start thinking about your business, where it's at now, but more importantly, where you want it to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, where you want to be in life in those same increments. Because I can tell you that while I'm sure we, just like me, you love what you do from a real estate standpoint. Um, but at some point, there needs to be an exit strategy. There needs to be a way to be able to still live the lifestyle that you've lived up to this point, without necessarily being on the grind of always finding the next deal. And that's really when it comes down to real estate, that's what it's about. I think if you think from a standpoint of, when I was a police officer, or if you had a job or whatever the job is, it was the phrase living paycheck to paycheck. And, in many cases, that's what most people are doing when you're working a job. Well, in real estate, even though we're independent contractors, we self-employed, we work for ourselves. The bottom line is if you don't create leverage for yourself in this industry, you are still working paycheck to paycheck, so to speak. It's just a commission check instead of a paycheck. So I want to be able to share a few things with you that I've been able to do in my business, and I'm helping other agents to do in their business to make that shift from being that top producing or producing real estate agent to being a CEO in your business and being able to scale your business. So again, the problem I think is with most people, we get stuck in the transaction mode. It's very easy to do. It's and I see agents doing it all the time. I see successful agents doing it all the time. And it's like, when do you get off the hamster wheel to create leverage for yourself, to create additional revenue streams? And I can tell you, I'm still in a production right now, but I give myself, just like I gave myself 4 years to get to San Diego. I'm giving myself 3 to 5 years. So that's really probably maybe right about 4 years to be totally out of production. And my goal is to be able to just help agents to grow in the business model that they want for themselves. But again, it's very easy to get caught in this trap because we feel like, again, if we're producing and we're going to the closing table, 2, 3, 10 times a month, well, man, we got a thriving business. But if that business relies on you to be there in order for it to run, then you're not running a business. You're self-employed. You just created a job for yourself where you cannot walk away from it and have it continue to go. And we're going to talk about systems that will help you to put your current state of how production is going into more of a business mode for you. Um, And again, it's definitely not a bad thing to have deal after deal after deal. But if you have to be involved in it, that's where we want to make the tweak to adjust and give yourself some leverage with it. And I think we work really kind of while we're doing proactive things to get business, we're waiting on that phone to ring or get that email or text message of someone said, "Hey, I'm ready to buy or I'm ready to sell." So we definitely, kind of operate from a reactive mindset. Once again, that's an area that we want to be able to tweak and keep things from a proactive status where, again, we're creating other areas where you can generate revenue for yourself that are outside of your own production. And we'll discuss some of that here today. And then every month, again, depending on how much business you're doing, there's this phrase is you're only as good as your last closing. We have those modes and I think we're especially feeling it now, in 2021, 2020, we were rolling right along with, deals that are always coming through. But as we're seeing, different, economic changes that are happening, political climates that are, involved with the decision making for buyers and sellers right now. Again, those deals are not as often as they were, say, 4 years ago. So, in some instances, we do feel like we're starting at zero at the beginning of each month. So we want to be able to put you in a place where you never feel like you're back at ground zero in your business and you're looking at your business as an entrepreneur. So let's talk about, again, what is the identity shift? It's taking you from an agent mindset of what do I need to be able to sell? What do I need to do to be able to sell? What are the things that I should be doing in my business to be able to get more buyers, more sellers in my business? That's a very common question that we're, constantly looking at for ourselves when we're just in the production mode, where a CEO is thinking from a system standpoint, because systems create leverage. You've probably heard the term for systems. It's an acronym: save yourself time, energy, and money. By putting systems in place. So, what systems do you need to scale? Because when you can create a system for yourself, it takes off of your plate the things that you are having to do. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of systems that have been put in place over I'd say the past 10 years by using virtual assistants. And that's a great area, because that's, again, having someone else that you can, give the task, kind of the minimum wage task, so to speak, to someone else, and you're taking it off of your plate to give you the opportunity to take on the bigger tasks that are going to bring in more revenue. But I tell you what, in this day and age that we live in right now with AI technology and how quickly it's going, this is from a system standpoint, really from anything that I'm doing, whether I enjoy doing it or I wish I could take it off my plate, I'm always asking myself, how can I do this with AI? How can I figure out some way to do this without me actually having to do it, and using AI or someone else and using AI? Because again, if I can get AI to do it, it's probably going to do it at the fraction of the cost that a virtual assistant would. And there's many instances where you can get very good prices on virtual assistants. But what if you have just a $30 monthly fee that you pay for something that takes an entire, month or year's worth of task off of your plate? So definitely, as you're diving into systems, you can certainly look at the virtual assistant standpoint, but I would also be looking at AI and how you can implement that into your business, because there's so many ways that you can, and people are not necessarily using them just yet. And then having as an agent, thinking about their business, working, again, the mentality is I'm working in my business. I'm constantly, looking to brand, looking to market, looking to promote, looking to do things to bring more production my way, as opposed to I'm working on my business as a CEO. I'm looking for ways to work in those areas of branding, promoting, and marketing. But once again, I'm doing it in a way where I only have to do it once, and it's built out and out. Now it's a machine that's working for me. How do I get more clients? This is I think every agent that's in production has this question of how do I get more clients? How do I get the phone ringing more? And being able to shift that to how do I build a client attraction system? And we'll talk about some of those things. I can tell you, I had to fill out a questionnaire for a company that I'm meeting with on July 2nd to talk about the system that they have that I want to bring into my organization, not even just me, but my organization, and be able to apply it, so I can share it with the masses, share it with all the agents within our group, and more importantly, share it with agents that haven't joined with us so they know what we bring to the table. And it allows more agents to become a part of us. So I'm looking for client attraction so that I can do agent attraction, because the agent attraction for me is the aspect that is growing my company from a standpoint, my business from a standpoint of where it's giving me that leverage that I'm looking for. So I'm looking, in many cases, I'm not looking for how do I get more clients. It's more of how do I help the agents that have partnered with me? How do I help them to get more clients? And again, the thinking from an agent of I'm the producer. And in most cases that is the case. You are the one that has to go out. Even if I've seen agents that they have a team around them, but that team is support staff. That team takes care of transaction management. That team takes care of maybe the video and the marketing and things of that nature. They take care of kind of the errands and the boots on ground type of work, but it's still the agent that is the producer in their business, and taking that mentality and going into I'm the strategist. I'm the person that's creating a strategy for myself and my organization that helps it to grow, and get to a certain point where it's growing without me having to constantly do the things that I did in the beginning. The one thing I will tell you, moving from agent thinking to a CEO thinking, it's still going to require work on the front end to get yourself to that point. But the key with systems is once they're in place, they are now working behind the scenes without you having to do all the work. And then knowing your numbers. This is something, I told you, I kind of look at utilizing AI for any and everything. This presentation was created through AI. I took what I'm speaking to you about. I took it from my head. I put it into Chat GPT. I told it to give me a prompt to go into Gamma AI. And this is all of what Gamma created. Gamma doesn't always get it right. So I actually had to tweak some of these slides. But one of the things that I left in here that is not necessarily along the lines of my thinking was, again, the cost per lead, the profit margin, the hourly rate. Because while I wasn't even thinking about that part, I was like, well, as a team lead, those things are important, but I'm thinking on a much bigger scale. I'm thinking of someone that's growing an organization that has multiple teams on it, not just a team lead that's running, 5 or 6 agents. But we all have to start somewhere. So if you've just been in production, for the majority of your real estate career, and now you're moving into being a team lead, these areas, cost per lead, profit margin, hourly rate, are important. So that's why I left it in there. And again, so when we're talking about cost per lead, now we're talking about what is it that you're going to provide as a team lead to your organization? Most of you here are with EXP, so you can appreciate the fact that we have when I'm talking systems, the beauty of it is a lot of these systems are already in place. We just have to get signed up and start utilizing them. And so it's always been big for me that because if I'm paying for leads, then that means I'm charging my team a split, off of their commission for those leads, so I can make the money that I spend for the lead, plus again make more money for myself. My mentality since I've been with EXP is, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach him how to fish, he eats forever. And I don't want to have a bunch of agents working for me as employees. I don't want to talk about building wealth, but yet and still I got you paying me a split on top of what you're paying EXP. That's kind of like an oxymoron. If I'm telling you, let's build wealth, but I'm going to take EXP, you got an 80/20, and then you're going to have another 25% that you have to pay to me. I'm not showing you how to build wealth. But if I show you how to build and create your own leads and you keep all of the money because you had the ad spend to generate that lead, but you then keep all the money, I would prefer to do that because I'm also preparing you for that next step of when you do decide that you want to build your own team and you want to build your own organization. And, you can build it however you want, but hopefully you pass on the information that I shared with you and show the next person how to do the same thing. The profit margin aspect of it, obviously, it becomes very important to know your numbers in regards to if what you're doing is profitable. And I think, when we look at, with AI and the technology and the cost for it, that's very nominal. Um, it's a great opportunity to expand your profit margins with some of the systems that you put in place that will make you look like a rock star, but not cost you, like a rock star price point to be able to do it. And then your hourly rate. This is something I learned the very first team that I was ever on. I was actually 16 years in the business before I was ever on a team, but it was the best experience that I ever had because I learned so much from that team leader. And this is where I learned about my hourly rate and how important it is. And if I'm doing things, like writing the contracts and not using a TC, or if I'm the one delivering signs and putting them in the yard, and not having a concierge service do that, I'm diminishing that hourly rate. So I was able to increase my hourly rate by, again, having this group of people around me that take care of a lot of the small things. And now with the advancements in AI, we're able to do that even to a larger scale because, again, we're not having to pay as much as we pay to a person. And then just some of the other areas to think about from a standpoint of um, knowing your numbers, your sales volume. How much have you done in sales? I can tell you, I just looked at the numbers this morning. It's $106,989,000 that we've done just in 2025. We haven't hit the full half year mark. We'll do that, I think, next Monday is the last day of the month. And we are already ahead of, my organization is already ahead of where we were this time last year. We did 198 million for the year. So we just missed 200 million. And right now, just where we're at today, we're probably on pace to do about 220 million, at a minimum. And so those are numbers that I'm tracking, and I look at those numbers on a daily basis on the sales volume. The number of agents, I'm looking at how we're growing from an agent standpoint. When those agents come on, I'm looking at their numbers. I'm looking at where they came from previously and how they're growing their business and seeing if there's going to be areas that I may be able to assist them in. The number of teams, I have 7 teams in my organization. So as you start to grow, you first grow your own team and then you start having other teams join. Again, you want to be able to support, those teams that are in place and help them grow their business. And then you want to go to the next side over there, who's growing and who's struggling. Again, you want to find out. I always talk when I see people that they're doing numbers better than what they were doing the previous year. What is it that you're doing differently? What are you doing that's helping you to grow? So I can just pass that on to other agents, maybe some of those agents that are struggling. And I think, I've come across in many cases more so, in the last couple of years than, any time from 2021 all the way probably to 2015, where I'm seeing more agents struggling because the market is struggling. So it's only, it only makes sense that there are agents that are struggling in their business right now. So again, identifying who those agents are, talking, having some conversations, seeing if we can get things on track for their business and help them to really get their business up and running. And there's a lot of agents that, not just, within my group or with DXP, but just in general, there's a lot of agents that are in that place and don't necessarily have anyone reaching out to see, how they can help. And then, I'm constantly looking to identify where my help is needed and then figure out how to apply that help in those areas. Okay, so CEO habits, again, this is where systems, the importance of those systems comes into play. Like I had mentioned before, the lead generation, I'm very big on sphere marketing. I do a lot of business with my sphere, repeat and referral. So I can teach that to other agents. I teach to them, from a standpoint of what's worked for me. And, I think with the fast cap training that EXP offers, it's another aspect of being able to tap into that as well. I've never done lead generation successfully. So it's not one of those areas that I really tap into, but I do know of agents that have been very successful with lead generation. And I think, again, if you can do it in a way where it's cost effective, which with EXP, you have the ability to create your own leads through your CRM, whether you're using Bold Trail, Lofty, or Close. You can generate your own leads. I think that's going to be more practical for you than buying leads, because a lot of times you don't know the leads that you're buying, how fresh they are, how good they really are. So again, I always look at, if from a system standpoint, if you're with a company that's going to give you the ability to generate your own leads, those are going to be the best leads that you can get. And when you put those things in place, whether it's the sphere marketing aspect, because there are many aspects of my sphere marketing business that are automated, and I don't have to be in that on a daily basis. I probably spend an hour, if less than that sometimes, in what's being generated through my sphere of who I should be talking to. And I'm sending, personalized either phone calls or text messages to those people. So that's the only time and energy that I'm actually putting into those calls when it's identified who I should be talking to. And I'm doing how I'm identifying them. I'm using AI technology to figure out, based off of the algorithm and people's online, search behaviors and things of that nature, to figure out who is likely to sell or buy in the next 6 months. And those are the people that I'm having conversations with. The client nurturing component, again, this is probably, I spend, probably another hour a day with this. A lot of it is, I make a couple of calls, but I do a lot of text messages, and it's just, that touch point of just checking in with someone, seeing how their summer's going, seeing how, their year's going, whatever the case may be, and being able to continue to develop those relationships. And then the transaction management aspect, I have someone my TC that takes care of a lot of that. And I tell you, she gave me back when I hired her probably 8 years ago. She gave me back 25 hours of my week. By being able to take that off my plate. So if you're not using a TC, even if you're just in production, it will be a game changer for your business. So I definitely, suggest that you do that. Um, Building the brand. This is, I think, the biggest part in real estate, and this is even if you're just in production and you're not looking to grow an organization, of building your personal brand, because this is the thing that connects you with the rest of the world, and it's going to connect you, hopefully in a positive way where they're drawn to you. You are attracting people to you just based off of your knowledge, your skill set, your personality. These are all the aspects of what your brand is. Your brand is not a logo. It's not a tagline. It's how you show up online. And so now you have to think of it not just, the individual that you are, but growing it more so from an organization or a team standpoint. And I think one of the biggest things that you can do for your business, and this is even if you're still just in production, I love telling people, I have a team. And so you don't just get me, you get an entire team that's working for you, but you only pay for the price of one agent. And that's the difference of what we bring to the table. And every agent that's a part of our group could say the exact same thing, because if they needed someone to show a property, or if they needed someone to sit in on an inspection or a closing, we have a list of agents that would be able to do that for them. So in that's a part of the brand. That's part of my brand. But it can be a part of any agent when you have those types of partnerships within your group, of being able to say, it's not just me that you get an entire team that's working for you. Creating content of value. Right now, we know that the pain points for people are in the areas of interest rates and high prices. And when you can create content that eases that pain point, whether it's a grant program, whether it's an assumable loan, understanding how assumable loans work, or how you can buy new construction, under 5% on the interest rate when everyone else is at about 7%. And positioning yourself as that local expert. Now, when you're doing the building of a personal brand as a CEO, you're doing these things where you're not speaking to the public, you're not speaking to the consumer, you're speaking to other agents, because that's your client base, are other agents and people that are going to be joining with you. And build authority through education. I think that's one of the areas for me where I always tell the people in my organization, and now I tell people that have not joined my organization, if I have knowledge of something that's working, and you get in a room with me, you're gonna have knowledge of it. I don't keep any secrets of, man, this is a gold mine that I landed on of building clients. I'm not telling anyone. No, I don't operate like that. I share the wealth because there's plenty to go around. And then leveraging multiple platforms, your social media, email marketing, the video content. And like I said, when you're building your personal brand for your client base of consumers, it's going to be done in a certain way. But then when you shift it, you're going to be building that same brand, but your client base are now other real estate agents, because this is where it's going to help you to build your own organization and create leverage for yourself. Time ownership. Again, this is where, again, it becomes important with your time management, time blocking and putting hours aside for, building your revenue, building, your pipeline of other agents that are coming on board that you're coaching and you're teaching. The client time is going to be that area where you're actually doing trainings, and you're pouring into those agents, that whether they're becoming a part of your team or your organization, that you're helping them to grow. And then your CEO time, this is really where you're growing. This is where you're taking time for yourself to, whether you're listening to something, reading something, it's going to help you to get better. I was actually just introduced to a book that is very much along the same line. I'm trying to get the name of it here. Very much along the same lines of what we're talking about. And Jesse Zagorski put it in a group that I'm a part of. It's called The Science of Scaling by Benjamin Hardy and Blake Erickson. And I just started listening to it last night. And it's an exceptional book for exactly what I'm talking about. So it's one of those things where even though I'm doing a mindset training on this, I'm still trying to get better. So I'm taking that CEO time to be able to do the same thing. And then lastly, we have your business freedom test, because ultimately, I think we all love and enjoy what we do, but it's about being able to create time freedom, financial freedom, creating choices for yourself. And you have to ask yourself, this is an important question I think everyone should ask yourself, and it really gives you an understanding of what you have with your business. If you took 30 days off, would your business still function without you? And in most cases, when you're just in production and it's just you, in most cases, it's not going to function. It's not going to continue to go. So you got to make, a business that has the scalable income where the revenue continues even when you're not working. And ultimately, you're building a legacy, for yourself, for your family. And once again, you don't want to have to build a legacy where you're constantly having to be in the business. You want to be able to, again, work on your business and not always in your business. And then again, creating that time freedom. When you're creating systems, it's going to give you time back. So you work fewer hours, and then you can put those hours into something that's just going to continue to help you grow. And then team leadership. This is, once again, one of the key areas of building more leaders in your organization, as you grow. So, all of these are, this is honestly probably an hour and a half training. I had to kind of condense it, but it was, really something that I have been thinking about, especially because of what we're seeing in the market right now and the importance of agents being able to scale their business to a certain point of being able to create that time freedom for themselves. Because I think we can all say at some point, we want to be able to walk away from real estate and still have revenue that's generated from it, without having to put in the work when we're in our 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever the case may be. All right. So hopefully this was helpful to you all. I really appreciate you all being here today. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions in regards to any of this. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.